they're they're not as analytical about things, and they'll feel it, and they'll. He said, um, how do we say it? They could you try using Facebook Live instead? Can't see or hear anything. Ah, Facebook Live? We could. Can't see or hear anything. It's probably a bad connection. I don't know why. Hold on. We're gonna, yeah. I think it. I don't know. Let's see what they say. Can't hear or see anything. Yes, can't hear or see anything. Can you try to get online? See. Yeah. Oh. The solution to understand. Well, let's talk a little more about the differences, and then we'll talk about how to understand. It's working. Okay. No, I don't think so. You have to go. What? Yes, she said it's working now. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the natures. Well, we could. We're just starting. I'm talking in terms of spiritual life. Female nature is um, females will tend to feel more, and men will tend to think more. You agree? Yeah. So religion is a lot about praying, and so it's a lot about feeling. It's a lot about serving. It's a lot about self-sacrifice, and that's women's nature. That's Krishna made women constituted to make sacrifice. That's because if you don't, you can't raise children because it's all sacrifice, right? So you have to have that nature to raise children, and that's like sometimes men, if they're with children too long, they'll lose their patience. But the women are more connected, so they'll. It's like I read a book and said that um, women, even if they see a doll of a baby, it brings out certain motherly feelings. It's so innate within them. It's not with male is not like that. So to to be religious is more natural. So that's a big advantage. And that's why you see more women and men. And men they'll tend to argue more, debate more, doubt more. So so those are all advantages women can use. And actually, when men come to bhakti, they have to develop some feminine qualities, like service, submission to guru, service. The same qualities that we say, well, wife should serve her husband, wife should be submissive. It's the same qualities that a disciple should exhibit towards a guru. Learn from them, serve them, submit. And sometimes it's harder for men than women. Yes. You want to try to broadcast on Facebook? You know how to do it? I did it once. It's kind of hidden. There's a way. There's a button that says broadcast. You know how to do it? Tag status, and there's an option to broadcast. Okay, not working again. Um, it could be the internet here is just not good. So sometimes it's said it's an advantage to be a man for spiritual life because they're more easily discipline themselves and they're more sense controlled. But actually, in another sense, it's more of an advantage to be a woman because they naturally serve. And not all men easily control themselves. At least I haven't seen that they do. Sometimes I've seen they have a much harder time. Right? What, 99.999% of rapes are done by men. Right? I mean, extremely rare. So men are challenged, even though they have the capacity, but they're challenged. Yes? So, um, so men can use their intellectual capacity. No? Men can use their intellectual capacity, and that's very good. And they can use their intellectual capacity to doubt everything. Right? But that male mentality of enjoyer, controller is not good for spiritual life. So in that sense, women have it easier because they have less of that mentality, enjoyer to controller. Well, they have the enjoyer mentality, certainly, but it's monitored by that service mentality, which comes more natural. So the female qualities are good. So if anyone ever says men have it easier and women have it harder, don't believe them. It, women in many ways have it easier. I think maybe it's equal. We both have advantages and disadvantages. But if that's true, um, that theory is somewhat disproven by the fact that there's more women coming to spiritual life than men. Right? Yes.
But there are less female gurus
Yeah.
than male gurus, right?
Yeah. Because the female ego doesn't want to put herself. It's not. It's woman's nature. Oh yeah, this brings up a good point. Woman's nature compared to men. It's again a generalization. Is not to. How should we say? Yeah, not to put herself in front of people, and they feel a little bit awkward. I mean, unless you're an actress or a performer who loves to perform and be on stage. Um, most women I know, they feel a little awkward sitting in front of a few hundred people and telling people what to do. It's more of a male men feel more natural doing it. And most women are, I think, more interested in family. And by the time they're old enough to be a guru, they have grandchildren. And they tend to want to rather be around their kids and their grandchildren than traveling the world, flying alone on airplanes, living in hotels in different people's homes, sleeping in a different bed every 3 nights. It's more of a male thing, and that's what it means partially to be, what it means to be a guru. So, and also it would depend on the social system, how much the female guru is encouraged and wanted. You know, like you may have a good product, but nobody wants it. And, you know, Coca-Cola dominates the market, not Pepsi-Cola. But in taste, blind taste test, Pepsi-Cola always wins. Do you know that? When you don't know what it is, everybody likes Pepsi-Cola. Well, actually, I think what they did is put Pepsi-Cola in a Coca-Cola bottle and said, which one do you like? Everybody likes Coca-Cola, but it was Pepsi-Cola. Um, it's,
It's trying to connect.
I guess, the internet goes through different phases, doesn't it? Sometimes connected, sometimes not connected. Anyway, yes.
The last point that you made, that the woman is always like they does not want to come in the front and lead, if I'm put it that way.
Not all, but
Not all.
more so
But
than
when
men.
we look at the spiritual world, the major portfolio, comparing to what the material life is, that they're all with the women, like
The
Lakshmi
gopis.
Devi. We
Yeah,
have the
yeah,
entire
yeah, yeah.
material manifestation is with
Because
Maya
that's
Devi. So it's all
because that's in the conjugal ras, which is the most revered ras, or the highest. Well, those are spiritual forms also, but it's true. But in the material world, there's some things that don't perfectly reflect, and so that that is in the spiritual world that is the female. It's the it's the female loving Krishna, but we're all female, so it's just a particular rasa the way you want to do it. But the point was in the material world, um, the male is more natural. Like guru means you have to criticize. Guru means you have to have some control. Guru means you're going to be honored. Like sometimes I'll I'll tell my wife we're having lunch at a disciple's house, and she'll say I don't want to go, and I'll say why? I said because they'll honor me. I don't like it. It's more of a male thing. When the man's like whatever, I'll tolerate it. It doesn't bother him so much. Kind of just ignores it. Okay, they'll bow down to me. I'm a guru. Whatever. For many women, they don't like that. It just feel right. So that might be one of the reasons. I mean, obviously, there's social reasons that push men more than women. But I think it's also that a lot of women don't push themselves as well. They may not feel comfortable with it. And so in some sense, no luck. It kind of goes and comes.
Yeah, but my Facebook is not connecting at all for live.
I'm trying to like post a live from
Yeah.
Mahatma's heart, but he's saying that the connection is not strong enough
We have a
to do
bad
a live.
connection here.
Wait, it's now live from my own personal one.
That's it. Okay. Should we put it here?
Should
This
I
is on
go?
this is on Facebook?
Yeah,
Okay. So now we're going to go on Facebook. Okay.
but it's not through your Facebook, it's through my one. Through yours? Yeah. I should go through Mahatma Prabhu's heart.
Why don't we just broadcast it this way? How do they get on? They go on your Facebook?
Yeah. Yes, but you not all our friends, right?
They don't know your Facebook. All right.
Should I try it? Would you
Sure.
want to log on? Yes. Yeah.
Huh. What do you think? You want to be guru? How about you? Maybe. Someday.
Sometimes when a female wants to teach male, then the male ego comes that why should we understand something from a female?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
how
that's
can
there.
she know that more than me?
Yeah, that's
That
there. That's there.
that's
So
also
it
come in mind.
that can also discourage women from wanting to take that role. That's true. No doubt. That's a social phenomenon that you can't control entirely.
If you want to preach somebody, especially a male, how to approach that?
If a woman wants to preach to a man, depends what man. Because our philosophy is if you know Krishna, then you teach Krishna to others. Doesn't matter who you are, what country you're from, you can do that. But the people who are hearing from you may discriminate. I would say the best way to do it is do it, and then they can see for themselves that you're qualified. The male ego, this will kind of get to your question, the male ego wants to be respected. So if a woman is smarter than a man, sometimes the man doesn't like that. That could be one reason he doesn't want to hear, because he realizes she's smarter than I am. and he doesn't feel good. That's not saying all men, but some men may feel that way. And certainly, if that's the case, you'll feel that, and it'll be awkward for you. It could be awkward, and many women don't want to be in that awkward situation. And
Says the same. He's not strong enough to go live.
yeah.
Maybe where I'm sitting, because it just went live here.
Is it a
My
battery?
experience with the internet is sometimes it goes off and on.
Is it a battery bank? Because I have the internet, but the battery is not.
Oh, I don't have, unless there's a plug over. There's an outlet up there. I don't know.